Hey everyone, how's it going? I hope everyone has had a great week so far. Back again, continuing on our Mastering the Basics series on physical activity. So we've addressed um, movement throughout the day, the importance of that. We talked a little bit about strength training in our last video, and now we're going to talk a little bit about cardiovascular fitness. And so I mentioned this a little bit last week. Why is cardiovascular fitness the last topic we're going to talk about? And that's really, I'm going by order of importance here, where moderate, or sorry, movement throughout the day is my number one thing I think people should do as far as physical activity. So just being active throughout the day. And then we talked a little bit about the importance of strength training as far as not about like looking good or having big muscles or lifting a lot of weight, but just enough strength training to maintain human function, to be able to get off a chair or off the toilet, or to prevent yourself from falling, or to carry your groceries in from the car, or to put things away in cabinets and stuff like that. So again, you hear strength training and you probably think, well, that's not for me. I don't really want to be a bodybuilder. I don't want to have gigantic muscles. I'm not comfortable lifting a lot of weight, all that fun stuff. But really, we're just talking about enough activity to challenge your muscles in order to just maintain what you need to maintain in order to be a functioning human being a lot late into your life, right? So it's a very uh, different definition of strength training than you might traditionally think. If you want to go the route of, you know, uh, beyond that to add more muscle mass and etc. And be strong. And I 100% support that. I think you should do that if you can. But since it's just the mastering the basics series, we're not going that deep. We're just talking about the basics. So um, next and last on the list is cardiovascular fitness. And why cardiovascular fitness is coming after those two things is because I think if you just did movement every day, you're going to get a lot of cardiovascular fitness from doing that. So if you, for example, your form of movement is walking and you just hit your 10,000 steps a day, you're getting a decent amount of cardiovascular fitness just from doing that. And as we're gonna talk about here, you get a lot of benefits just from doing that. So I just came across a study today that showed that an hour of aerobic physical activity, moderate physical activity, a week, just an hour a week, uh, showed a 15% decrease in dying. Right, that's pretty good for just doing an hour a week. And moderate physical aerobic physical activity, the definition for it in this study is literally equates to walking. So you're not running, you're not jogging, you're not sprinting, you're not doing any biking or anything like that. You're just literally walking. An hour a week would get you a 15% reduction in dying. And if you added a few more hours, so if you did 3 hours a week and you did the strength training we talked about in the last video, you had a 40% reduction in dying. That's crazy, right? And so, again, we're just talking about 3 hours a week of walking. It's not running or jogging or biking or sprinting or getting on the rower and rowing or anything like that. It's just literally walking, right? So, 3 hours a week. That's across a week. You have 24 hours a day. You know, if you can squeeze 3 hours in a week, and then did some strength training on top of that, you greatly improve your longevity, right? So again, since we're talking about mastering basics, these are the things that we're talking about. Just walking and a little bit of strength training, and you're good, right? So when we start to talk about cardiovascular fitness, anything beyond walking is going to be an added bonus from an intensity point of view, right? So but I do believe that a little bit of cardiovascular fitness beyond just walking is going to add a lot from a health perspective, right? And so I'm not going to go into crazy cardiovascular fitness routines. I'm a huge fan of cardio. I can talk all day about how to train your cardiovascular system, but just know that training your cardiovascular system via cardio exercise is going to get you a lot from a health perspective, right? Anything related to supplying blood to your body is going to be improved. So we often see improvements in blood lipids. We see improvements in your metabolic function from a glucose blood sugar perspective. We see great improvements in blood pressure. We see improvements in blood flow, the amount of blood you have in your body. We obviously see improvements in the heart as a muscle because you're working the heart a lot, and that just becomes more efficient. You see a lowering resting heart rate. You see improvement breathing capacity, right? Because your lungs are working very hard, so your lungs become stronger. There's just a whole bunch of improvements related to cardiovascular fitness that you'll get from just doing a little bit of cardio. And so it is important, right? And so while walking will get you a huge amount of benefits, just doing a little bit more at a higher intensity than that can even get you even more benefits from a health perspective. So since this is mastering the basics, I'm not going to tell you to do anything kind of crazy from a cardiovascular fitness perspective. But I think similar to what we talked about last week, just 2 days a week of strength training. Sorry, last week we talked about strength training. Just 2 days a week of strength training will get you a lot. 2 days a week of some type of cardiovascular exercise is also going to get you a lot, right? So, and again, just like I was talking about last week, like 15, 30 minutes of strength training, 15 to 30 minutes of cardiovascular exercise is going to get you a lot. And so, what does that look like? All I really want you to do is go at an intensity that you can breathe only through your nose, right? So, just breathing through your nose. That's all I want you to do. Don't worry about a chest strap, heart rate monitor, or anything else, any kind of other fancy protocol. If you can breathe through your nose exclusively during the exercise, that's the intensity that I want you to work at for 15 minutes, 15 to 30 minutes, 2 times a week. That's it. And what modality is the best? You get to pick. It doesn't matter to me, right? Again, we can get super specific on the benefits and detriments to different modalities, but we're just talking about the basics here, right? The basics. So I want you to pick a modality of cardiovascular exercise that you like. It could be running, it could be swimming, it could be biking, it could be rowing, if you could getting on the elliptical or the stairmaster. It does not matter to me as long as you are doing some kind of cardiovascular exercise. It could be getting another good one that I'll mention here just because I should give it a plug and I think it's an underrated form of cardiovascular exercise is something called rucking. If you're not familiar with rucking, it can get very intense. But again, we're keeping it very light. And basically, all rucking involves at its in simplest form is you could take a couple of books, throw them in a backpack, and start walking around your neighborhood. Find a hill, walk up the hill with the backpacks. You'll be surprised how much of a cardiovascular workout that is. And start slow and start light. It does not need to be hard. You don't need to load the backpack up with all kinds of weight or anything like that. Just a little bit of weight, a couple books in your backpack, throw that on your back and go for your normal walk for 15 minutes and you'll see how hard that can be. And you can scale that up, right? Obviously, but that's also it's weighted walking, really. That's all it is, and that would certainly qualify as a form of cardiovascular fitness or cardiovascular exercise, equivalent to going for a jog or a run or a bike or a swim or getting on the rower or the elliptical or the stairmaster or whatever. The key here is that I want you to keep it easy and I want you to pick something that is enjoyable to you, right? So I don't want you to do something that is not enjoyable because you're not going to stick to it. This is the basics, mastering the basics, and the basics are about doing it day in and day out, week after week for the rest of your life. And if you pick something that you do not like just because you think it's harder or you've seen other people get really good results or you've heard some fantastic magical benefit of doing it, it does not matter because doing anything for the rest of your life is going to be better than doing something for a couple of weeks and then not doing it ever again. So pick something that you like and mix and match. If you like to bike and run, if you like to bike and row, if you like to bike, run and row, if you like to you're a former triathlete and you like to run, bike and swim, mix and match. Just move back and forth based on the weather, based on how the mood strikes you, based on time constraints and when you can do them, whatever, it doesn't matter. Again, when should I do this cardiovascular exercise? Whenever you can do it. It does not matter. It could be in the morning, it could be in the evening, well, as long as it's not too close to bed, because we talked about that in the sleep routine, the sleep discussion. It could be in the middle of your day. You could do it with your significant other, your spouse, your kids. It does not matter. Just do it. And we're just talking about a little bit of 15 minutes to 20 to 30 minutes, a couple times a week, 2 days a week. Do it on the other days. Do it on the same days as your strength training. It does not matter. It's just adding it in there, right? And that's going to get you a massive amount of benefits from a cardiovascular health. The other thing I'll add in there, other benefits we can talk about that relates to some of this other stuff, the other topics we've already covered, is that doing things outside has a lot of benefits. So if you can take this cardiovascular fitness outside, that's great. Hiking in the woods be great. There's lots of stress reliefs. You're going to get the benefits of getting sun on your face. You're going to get the benefits of setting your circadian clock so you can get better sleep. And so there's a lot of trickle down of benefits when you start to move these things out into the outdoors. So if you can find a modality that works well in the outdoors is great. Um, uh, I if you're in a climate that's challenging, again, I live here in New Hampshire, so it can be cold a lot of the years. But I find things that I can do during the winter that also are cardiovascular related, right? Sometimes I do run in the winter on in the snow and the ice, and it's not the most fun, but sometimes I do it. I do like to go snowshoeing. I do like to go skiing. I've taken that up in the past year. We'll talk a little bit more of that in the next video. But there are plenty of outdoor activities, no matter the climate that you're in. I know some people that live in really hot climates, they like to do whatever outdoor the activity they can do in the morning so that it's not as hot. Right? There's ways to work around it and just find something. But if you have to do it inside, you have to do it inside, and that's okay too. That's fine, right? It's better than nothing. Right? So that's this week's Mastering the Basics video. Just to summarize, what we were trying to do here is add a little bit of benefit on top of the movement, everyday movement that you're getting throughout the week. And so like 15, 30 minutes of some kind of cardiovascular fitness activity. That could be running, it can be rucking, it can be hiking, it can be biking, it can be skiing, it can be snowshoeing, it can be swimming, it can be getting on the elliptical, it can be getting on a stairmaster, it can be rowing. You pick the modality, just pick a modality or modalities that you like and that you're going to stick to, and do that 2 times a week for 15 to 30 minutes a week, and you're going to get a ton of benefits from a cardiovascular health perspective. And with that, that's the end of this video, this week's Mastering the Basics video. If you are enjoying the series and you want to keep up with everything that I'm putting out related to the series, we still have a couple more videos and topics to cover. So you want to be sure to be on my newsletter because that's where I send out these videos every week and you don't have to worry about trying to catch them online. So you can join my newsletter just by this hand, clicking that, scanning that QR code right there. And that will bring you to a webpage where you can enter your email address and sign up for my newsletter. And I will email you links to these videos every week when I publish them. Also, all the other content that I put out as well. So it's a good way to keep up with what I'm up to. And if you do need help with mastering the basics on any of these topics, the topic we talked about today, or any of the other topics, and you're looking for some more one-on-one type of coaching, I do have one spot open in my coaching list, and you can join that if you'd like, if it'd be good fit. So you can go to rjbhealth.coach, click on the schedule discovery call button right on the homepage, and that will you fill out a form, fill out that form, click submit, and I'll get an email, and I will email you, and we can chat a little bit more over Zoom about whether it would be a good fit to work together. And with that, I'll tell everyone to have a good week, and I'll talk to you all next week.